you get it? Is it on?
Hello. Well, welcome to another episode of Taking Over the World with Ed and Aaron. What's up, buddy?
What is happening,
I don't
compadre?
know. I don't know. But I'm going to come in hot today. You ready for this? You ready for this?
I'm
going to say one word. You
7.
tell me. No, a word, not a number. A word, and you tell me what comes to mind.
Okay.
Bet.
Win.
Okay. Perfect. I remember that word because I was watching
I was
the
geared up
combine.
for more words. I was getting
No. You were getting.
I thought we were like on a game show. Like I was zoned in.
What you thought this Sesame Street? Like you thought we were going to start.
I was zoned in.
So I was watching the combine,
Okay.
and a lot of quarterbacks decided not to throw or whatever
Why?
because
they're pansies.
exactly. But JJ McCarthy was out there, and he did
saw that.
actually awesome. He did
I heard
really
his
good.
accuracy was a little rough though. I saw somebody say, "Hey, if we go to handoff drills, though, he'll dominate." I was like, "Whoa, that was an aggressive statement."
Well, he moved himself up. He was supposed to be a second-round pick. They say now he's going to go in the top 15.
Really?
Yeah, because he's got a gun for an arm. He's got pretty close accuracy. He needs to work on his feet a little more, but they say that he's worked a ton of that. But the reason I bring up J.J. McCarthy is because when he does his interviews, right? It's like everybody's always like, "Well, I'll be happy to play for this team," or "I'll be happy." And they started asking him questions about his level of, like, everybody says you're not the greatest or you're not a great quarterback because of the offense you ran in. Because at Michigan, you guys ran the ball a ton. You had great running backs. What do you say to that? And he's like, "Well, I understand the fact that you have to run the ball to set up the pass game." Right? Because that's really, you look at a lot of the teams, that's what they do. They have a good running game.
Sure.
Like, look at the Niners, look at the Chiefs, have, Pacheco, who they say runs aggressively. Like, everybody has a good running team. And then the quarterback, obviously, we can't count Mahomes because he's a rock star on his own. But it's all a team environment. Right? So he's never about, it's me, me, me. It's the team. So what do you think about that?
Oh, dang. How long we got? What's our timer at today? Okay,
we have 700 hours.
Because so I hate that statement. I hate he's a system guy. He's only doing well because he's in the system. He's this, he's that, and people giving. Because why can't the guy just be a winner? Why can't the guy show up, do what's asked of him, and be considered a good player? Right? Like, okay, he's not throwing it 50 times a game. He doesn't need to. He's winning game. He won a national championship. Brock Purdy got to the Super Bowl. Okay? So I think that it is like you are playing a team sport. You've got to understand the team dynamic. And I think as a head coach, right? Like, you want to talk about bet. Listen, the AA Summerlin South Pirates hit the field last night. We lost.
You lost last night?
We lost 12-10.
Ooh.
Okay? But
close game.
We moved some kids around. Coaching wise, it was just, get some kids on the field, right? But that's a team sport.
Right.
Okay? You can't have a great pitcher without a great catcher.
Correct.
Right? It doesn't do any good if you have a great shortstop if nobody at first base can catch him.
Or second base, right?
It doesn't matter. So when we get into situations like this, it's our jobs as coaches to build a strategy, a game plan, if you will, around the people we have. J.J. McCarthy has a strong arm. He's a smart guy. Okay? So who cares if he hands the ball off? He makes the throws when he needs to.
Right.
He's intelligent with the decisions he makes. You look at Brock Purdy. Obviously, nobody had him as a game-changing quarterback coming out of high school and Iowa State. But to his credit, he stuck to the program. He said, Iowa State's been recruiting me. That's where my loyalty is. Boom. 4 years. Put on his time. He gets drafted as Mr. Irrelevant, which, man, they showed the whole story of, the Niners passing on Mahomes or this or that, and it turned into a C.J. Beathard or Befford, fallout compensatory pick. The Niners grab him as Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, but you know what else they got out of Beathard?
What?
When they drafted him?
What?
They got Kittle.
Oh, they got Kittle too?
Yeah, because when they were scouting Bethel, he played in college with Kittle. So they were there watching him all the time.
At Iowa. All right,
at Iowa.
Okay.
So now they ended up getting Kittle, Beathard. Beathard left to Jacksonville, got a compensatory pick, and they got Brock Purdy. Okay. So that was a pretty good pick.
Yes. And so here's my point. everybody probably looked at that pick like, who cares? It's Mr. Irrelevant. He's a quarterback. He might be your third string guy if he makes the team at all. And the Niners, maybe they saw something. Maybe they're just like, hey, you know what? We like the kid. Let's see what he's got. We'll bring him in. Shanahan goes on record as saying, is like, as soon as they hit training camp, he's like, this is our guy.
Right.
Okay. And a year or two earlier, they took, what was it, Trey Lance in the first round?
Trey Lance in the first round.
Okay. So my whole point of getting all that is that I don't think you know what you got, and you can't have a quarterback. You don't necessarily need the guy with the strongest arm, the most intangibles that jumps off the charts, because you look at those guys. Well, Jamarcus Russell came out and everybody thought he could throw the ball. He was thick. He was going to be a stud. How's he doing?
Ryan Leaf.
He did a decent career. I mean, even Leinart. Like, I'm a huge Leinart fan. Right. More and more with his social media. I think the guy's hilarious. He's a great follow. But at SC, I watch him being a Southern California guy. Then going to the Cardinals.
Right.
But he didn't. I wouldn't say he didn't make an amazing career as a quarterback. He made it to the league, which is impressive as all heck. He stuck around.
Right.
But it's the guys who understand their role. And as long as J.J. McCarthy doesn't come out there and try to do something he's not ready to do, and you fall into a system, it's okay. If Brock Purdy's, you want to call him a system quarterback? Well, he's been to 2 NFC championships and a Super Bowl in his 2 years in the league as the Mr. Irrelevant.
I'll take it.
The system is working. The coaches, they draft guys. They put guys in a position to have a system. They're there for a reason, just like agents, just like our partners. You partner with Fidelity because they're part of the system. We know what we're going to get. We're not asking them to do our job. They're not asking us to do their job, but they're part of the team. Right? We might be the quarterback. Maybe they're our tight end. Then you got the lenders that are maybe our wideouts. You all have to work together. So I hate he's a system guy. Well, great. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want a guy who's going to work in the system and include everybody.
And you come up with a game plan. So that's what we were doing right before coming in here. We're coming in with a game plan. This is what we're going to do, because we're looking at how do we get to the Super Bowl for us, right?
Sure, exactly.
And what's the Super Bowl for us,
And not once did we put on there, Ed will do everything.
No.
Aaron will do everything.
No.
It started with, hey, we need these people. We need these people here. We need a position there. We need this. Building this system. And that's why I just get it gets me hot. I'm like, of course, he's your system, great. That's what I want. I want a team player. Now, if you're a singles tennis player, if you're a golfer, okay, well, yeah.
There is no system.
There is no system, man. You're on your own. You win or you lose by yourself. You might need to have a little bit different mindset.
Right.
Because if your driver's not working that day, well, unless you're going to start hitting 7 irons off the tee all day and go full tin cup style, it is what it is. Football, your stuff's not working that day, hand the ball off a little bit. Then you play action a little bit. So
baseball, your pitcher, you're a little off. Your outfield, your outfield has to be there. Your bullpen has to be there.
Right.
Your infield has to be hey, I got you.
Yes,
I mean, how many games? You don't see it often anymore. Pitchers pitching an entire game, a no hitter, just because the era we're in, we have closers, we have mid relievers, and all this stuff. But back in the day, how many infielders are hey, we're 2 innings away. Don't drop a ball.
Yeah.
You do whatever you got to do.
You sat far away from the pitcher. You didn't talk to him. But you got your position groups together and it's hey, don't be the guy that F's this up, bro.
You can't be the guy to drop a ball.
You eat wall. You eat grass. You eat the stands.
If that ball comes to you on first base at your face and you gloves not in the way, you eat that ball. You do whatever you got to do.
But here again, you go to it's the team, and again, every sport is different, every industry is different, and in real estate, you need a team. You look at ours. Listen, if you were to go out today by yourself, could you do everything? Yeah, probably you could, but it wouldn't be as well as if you've got Gabby in here today running this for us. We tried to run it ourselves. That didn't work out
no. We had I looked like a halo. I was oh.
We looked like aliens who had just come down surrounded by green. Okay, listen, I know sure as heck I couldn't do what Mercy does from the TC side.
Oh, no,
okay?
Not even close.
You got Marie running all the admin stuff, and she is good at keeping that on track stuff. You got Pearl doing all that stuff. So and you got Fidelity doing the title. You got our lenders doing the lending. It's you have to have a team, and the people that make it I, going back to ego, dude, it's set it aside and look how much better we're doing when we include everybody. We all stay in our lanes. We're so much more productive than making it about me.
And we're actually adding agents and adding people that can help, because your bandwidth is only so much. There's only so much time you have in the day.
Right.
whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's Marie, like right now we're working on this magazine,
Right.
that's going to go out in the quarter to our clients and stuff. And I came up with this idea, and everybody says I come up with all kinds of crazy ideas, and
Well, those are facts.
that's a fact. Like I just come up with an idea, and I'm like, okay, I definitely can talk to you because you sometimes understand what I want to do. Definitely can't talk to Mercy because she's like, I want no part of this because you're always changing things.
Right.
And then Marie's the one that understands me. She's like, I got you. I'll do it.
Right.
And then she starts putting it together. But it's those people on the team that understand the vision, understand what we're trying to do, understand we're trying to help more people, understand that we're doing what we do is not necessarily for a payday. You know, it's
Right.
we need to get paid because we have families to support, and this is what we do for a living. But we get much more satisfaction about helping people, and like right now we're going through that repair out like an hour and a half from us.
Right.
And you're still concerned about it. Like, how can I get somebody there? How can I try to find somebody to take care of that? We try to problem solve. And one of the things I think that's unique about our team and our dynamic on our team is I don't think anybody on our team feels like I got to do this. I think we all feel like, hey, let's talk about it.
Right.
Right? Like, I don't know if you saw the retirement speech.
Oh,
Kelsey?
What about our best friend of the show?
Yeah.
Best friend of the show.
Yeah.
The Kelsey brothers in New Heights.
Yeah.
Them and McAfee. McAfee's back in the headlines too. The best friends of the show. By the way, we've never talked to them. But we'd like to consider them as best friends.
Yes. Kelsey's are our best friends, just so you guys know.
Yes.
So Mercy, we turned it on last night to see it. And as soon as he walked behind the table and sat down.
Crying.
He started crying. Mercy was crying.
Yeah.
And we were laughing at her. We're like, come on, he hasn't even said a word yet, and he's crying. Like, you're crying. Like, but one of the things that he talks about is, like, when they won the Super Bowl, he says it was the biggest bleep on the team, went up to coach and said, hey, let's run the Philly special. I'm assuming since the expletive that he used.
Big Nick?
Yeah. He was Big Nick. The
Big
biggest Nick.
Big Nick Foles?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it wasn't him.
Who was it? Wasn't it?
It was Kelsey.
No, but Nick Foles was part of
Yeah.
Right, he was part of it.
Right, but Jason was the one that said,
okay,
hey, let's
gotcha.
go run the Philly special.
Okay.
And Doug's like, all right, let's do it. Like, they're collaborative. They won.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, I'm the head coach. You go back and just hike the ball to people because that's your job. I'll pick the plays we're going to run. No, it was like, you know what? You want to run this play? Let's run it. See what it does.
Well, and it's funny because I had a conversation with somebody over the weekend, right? So we had the great windstorm of the century this weekend.
So did you talk while you were avoiding the wind on the soccer field?
Oh, dude.
Or did you?
Dude, that was gnarly.
I saw
So,
you.
like, you know me, man. My sports fields are my sanctuary. Like, right?
Right.
Like, people are always like, dude, like, how do you coach these teams? And again, not trying to be but I love it, right? Like, that's where I can decompress. That's where I can let go of everything in the world and, like, focus on the kids and help them. And,
Right.
like, that's my passion, right? So, we, being on the board of Summerlin South, right? Like, our president and our board is awesome. Summerlin South, awesome Little League, right? But, like, Friday night, actually, Andy and I, my wife, were starting to talk about it. She's like, dude, the weather looks nasty tomorrow. I'm looking at my weather app. I'm like, it's not that bad. Like, how bad could it be? We don't really know, right? And then that night, our president's like, guys, the weather's not looking good. And I looked at it, I was like, yeah, probably not going to get much better either. And so collaboratively, we made a decision. We're like, we got to shut this down. And we're trying to, safety of the kids, integrity of opening day with raffle baskets. And we had, one of the Raiders coming out to throw the first pitch. And, it's a big day for someone South. And we're like, we just can't. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be worth it. And thankfully, we shut it down.
Right.
Okay. But the soccer field, they had a tournament. These guys my boys 8. I mean, it was the most miserable. Like, they're playing soccer on a turf field in those winds. You touch the ball like boat, it's like missile gone, right? Like, you can't catch it. And then when you're going against the wind, you'd see a guy kick it. It was go like right back at him. I'm like, what are we doing here? This is not a game of skill anymore. This is literally whatever team
Survival.
is going is survival of the fittest. And whatever team is going with the wind, the thing was literally, as soon as you get it, just kick it and aim towards the goal and see if the wind will take it. Like, that's all that it was. And so we play our first one, and it was miserable, right? Then we come back at 2:15 to play. and we get back, and now the winds are heavier.
Right.
And it's raining. Like, so now, like, you have to have your back to the wind because it feels like pieces of glass are being like hailed at your face, right? And like, I'm sure like people in like Midwest are like, you guys are a bunch of clowns. Like 60-mile-an-hour winds, we don't even get out of bed, right, for that. But like to us, it was tornado season, right? So then we're sitting there talking. There's like me and like 4 dads. Like, we got our hoodies on, we're bundled up, not nearly enough, and the wind takes 3 of the dads. Like, we have like a little 4 of us, right? And it takes all of us, like, it pushes us in. And this dad goes like this. He goes, hot damn, I thought you guys were about to jump me or something. Like, that's how hard the winds were blowing. And so, yeah, I'm talking on it. They finally end up, they're like, hey, we can't play right now. We're like, yeah, no kidding. Like, we get that. They're like, but come back at like 5:36. We're gonna start that. We're like, what the hell's going on? So like, Andy's like, we're already like, this ain't gonna happen. She's like washing his jersey for Sunday.
Right.
They're like, hey, we're playing at 6. She's got to get it back out and stuff. So, oh man, we go back out there. I mean, it's miserable. I layered up that time.
Now you're like, you're ready.
I get a call from my wife. She's like, we just had 5 roof tiles come flying off our roof. I'm like, this is amazing. It's like, meanwhile, we got 8-year-olds playing soccer. We got tiles flying off roofs, people. Our pets' heads are falling off. Like, man, the windstorm was, but my point of where I was going with that is that was a collaborative effort, like with Summerlin South with the board. The idea was put out there. Hey, what should we do? Just like us. Hey, we got a new client. Let's get everybody on board. Let's make sure the onboarding's done, the admin's done, the title work's done, all this, right? It's a collaborative effort.
Right.
Well, I had a buddy of mine call, and he's like, that's not really happening on our side. You know, it's been more of a dictatorship. We're moving through with it.
At the other brand, at the other league.
I'm not saying names.
At another league.
At another place, yeah. Another. We'll call it another sport, another league, whatever.
Right.
They were like, the guy was like, nope, we're doing it. Too bad. This is on the calendar. We're going. Well, lo and behold, the weather was garbage, and now they got parents showing up for said event, going like, what are we doing here? And so they call the guy who made the single-handed decision, and they're asking like, hey, what do you want us to tell him? He's like, well, what do you guys think we should tell him? Like, well, we think we should tell him we should have never done this because none of us wanted to do it. Right. You made this decision by yourself, and you didn't collaborate with any of us. You didn't ask for our input. You didn't let us work together as a team the way it was designed, just like our team. Like, you were in a role for a reason. And so then I guess they got real snippy, and they're like, dude, you made the decision by yourself without any of us. You can give us an answer on what you want us to tell them. And we're going to tell them it came from you because it was your decision. If you wanted us to have your back and kind of go out there, then you should have let us be part of this decision. Whether we did or we didn't, it should have been a collaborative effort. So
did they end up playing?
They ended up getting through most of it. I think that towards the end it fell off, but parents were not happy.
Well, when you're pitching in a 50-mile-an-hour winds, like, where's the ball going?
Well, and like I said, like from a safety standpoint, okay, we saw trees go down. I saw signs from streets go down.
Yep.
But God forbid a pitcher throws the ball, it happens to be a strike, the kid happens to hit it, and a dust storm comes, and the kid's hat flies off or gets dirt in his eyes, and he just goes like this for a second or whatever, and that ball just happens to line him up right in the face, the chest, anything like that. Like, most of these kids are 8 to 12 years old. Like, what
are we doing?
What are we doing? That was I was like quite like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But again, when somebody tries to say I'm the end all be all, exactly. this is what our avenue is, then what are you going to do? And that's the thing is, I think that being a team and being part of a group and working together makes it so much easier to do everything we do in business and personal and sports and recreation and everything. It's just, how do we do this together versus just, hey, whatever happens. We're just, I'm the boss. I say we're going to do it this way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think it's the way that we approach our team is that, listen, if we hire somebody, I think you've said it before too, is like, I think you've given the plane example, right? It's like, listen, when we talk to a client, typically it's one of us, talking face to face, but it's like, okay, yes, I might be the pilot. Here's my co-pilot. Okay, but also we've got an engineer that's already checked the plane. We have flight attendants to help throughout the flight. We've got maintenance crew. Like, we have a team. A plane doesn't fly just because of the pilot and the co-pilot. There's a team to get it off the ground and be safe and go for everybody. And, it's funny because you start talking about agents specifically, like, I'm the best agent, blah, 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 right? And they always think like if we're on the buying side, let's just say,
Right.
everybody thinks the listing agent is the enemy, right? Like we're out to screw them, we're out to beat them, like, and we always like, why? That listing agent, if like they're part of our team now, because we need to work with them, we need to build a rapport with them. Like, I mean, how many times have we said it was like, maybe they have a difficult client, we have a difficult client, but if us two are on the same page and we get talking to him or her and we build that rapport, we're like, hey, we need an extra day here. You good? Yeah, we're fine. Or like, hey, can you help me on a request for repair here? We need it. We gave you full price, but we need a little bit here. Like, yeah, you know what? That's fine. But it's those agents like, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I'm not gonna like, all right, pound sand, get out of here, bro.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because, so this week I had two experiences. So we had one seller that's selling their house, and we were supposed to have a post occupancy. For those of you that don't know, it's when you sell the house, you need to stay in the property for a couple of weeks while you make arrangements for your new house.
And sometimes that's paid, sometimes that's not paid. It's negotiation, right?
It's a negotiation. We negotiate whatever, depending on what side you're on, what you want to do.
Right.
But we negotiated. Unfortunately, the other side decided to send that to a lender.
Not ideal.
No, especially since it's a government program that was helping them with their down payment. The government program said, nope, can't do it.
Okay, can I ask you a question on that story? So this is an example. Because listen, I've been on the wrong email side of sending something.
Of course.
But here again, I should have stayed in my lane. If this person put their ego aside and trusted their team, and maybe they don't have a team, right?
Right.
We have somebody that handles that for us. That's what they excel at.
Correct.
Right? So again, they got out of their lane. They started trying to do it all themselves, make it a dictatorship, and
Right. So then you're absolutely right. So this person sent it off to the actual underwriter. The underwriter's out. Not allowed. We can't do that. So we need an addendum. So I went to go show some properties. I saw one of the properties that we were showing was somebody that I know in the business, somebody who happened to have been on my team years ago, and I really shout out to Lisa. I love her. I talk to her all the time, and she's done really well on her own since she left my team. She's grown. She saw what we had and how we did it, and she's trying to mirror that. So I call her and I said, "Hey, I have a favor to ask." She's like, "What's the favor?" I'm like, "I need to do a pre-occupancy now before we close because I need them to get in this house because they're going to be homeless as of Wednesday." Mm-hmm. She's like,
which in our industry is not good.
No, we don't want to do that. so she's like, "All right, just write it up like that. I'll take care of it. I'll talk to my clients and I'll make sure it happens." So again, it's having the relationships. It's building the trust where people know, hey, if I say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, and we can get those. So we got it done. So we went into escrow. On another side, we get to there was another point I was going to have on another deal we did. It was on the listing. So on another listing we had, we've been listing heavy this month, this quarter, which is great. But an agent sends me a question. Say, hey, your client needs a post-occupancy. Another one, because we have people that are selling their house and then buying another house. So we kind of negotiate those up front and everybody knows. And the agent says, how much time do you actually need? On an email. And I'm like, I thought we negotiated this. So I go back, look through contract, because I could have just said we need one and didn't specify time.
Right.
Which is very rare that we are that open about anything on our team, especially with the people we have on the back end of our team, Mercy and Marie. They make sure that
specific.
Yeah, they want to be specific. And we look and we're like, oh, we already negotiated a month. Before we had a time to respond to him, he sends an email and says, oh, I'm sorry. I just realized that on one of the counters we have, we had said 30 days. My apologies. And I actually called him and said, you know what? I'm calling you not because you asked a question. I'm calling you because you actually apologized for asking a question that you already had the answer to.
Right.
Which in our industry is completely unheard of.
Right.
Because in our industry, they don't even apologize if they're wrong. Like, you just literally apologized for something. So I just wanted to call you and say, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But, it goes back to that old saying is what, like, you can catch more bees with honey or something like that, right? It's like, and it's like our other listing, right? People also, it's frustrating when people don't have teams, when they don't think things through. And there's a lot of really good single agents, like whatever, but it's like, if you're going to be a single agent, make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you do your research. Don't go in and treat everybody like they're a moron, right?
Right.
Like, for example, we get an offer on one of our properties that's in coming soon stage. We haven't even hit the market yet. And we already know right now in this market, inventory is low, rates are changing, getting a little bit more favorable, right? So we already know it's like, okay, it's probably going to be a pretty decent, I mean, we're seeing things come off the market now in a weekend, in a week, if they're priced properly, set up properly, photos. Here again, you go to the team, bringing in the photo team, the cleaning team, the staging, like all of that is done. But it's like this agent who calls and kind of willy-nilly's around the whole situation. They go to take a look at it, and it's like, then you want to come in. And I get swinging for the fences. I get being aggressive. But here's where the relationship comes in. Call me. Call us. Say like, hey, listen, Ed, Aaron, I represent so-and-so. We saw your property. Obviously, we see where you're at. Here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be sending in an offer. This is roughly what it's going to be. I understand it's maybe not exactly what you were looking for. Just appreciate some feedback on it. Like start to build a relationship, because then when you just don't do that and then you send in a ridiculous offer that's 50 grand under list and we haven't even hit the market yet.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want us to do? Like, no, you didn't even get a counter. We just sent you a flat rejection, and now you wasted your time, you wasted our time, and then she hauls off and calls you or texts you and says something like, it's okay, just send over the rejection. Like, so then what are we doing here? Like,
why are you doing it?
Like you come in 50 grand, tell us it's okay to send the rejection over. Like, so either you had no faith in that, you wasted your time. We didn't put too much effort into this offer besides, relaying it to our client. We present all of our offers to our clients. I mean, they were quickly to be like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, it's like, but that's the part that, like, again, it's going back to establishing those partnerships, those relationships. Like, have a phone call. Tell them what it is.
That's all it is. Just having a conversation with people, talking to people, and making sure that we truly understand what you're doing. So we have a busy week ahead.
We do. A lot of new things coming.
How's Brooklyn doing?
The good news is, as of now, there's no brain tumor. I did ask the doctor yesterday. But it's one of those things. It's been a long couple of months. God bless her and my wife. They've held it down pretty darn good, and happy for a good support. It's always the fear of the unknown. As a parent, it's the most hopeless feeling.
And you go down rabbit holes.
I go down rabbit holes.
So let's be honest.
I heard CAT scan. And what I heard was brain tumor.
So we were laughing about that.
Thank God.
We were laughing because thank God.
A good diagnosis.
I don't give you a hard time while you're going through it, because I'm a parent too. So we always worried about what's going on. But we talked about this morning how you went down the rabbit hole as soon as you mentioned CAT scan. You're like, she's got tumors, everything's going wrong. And I'm like, yeah, my daughter broke her wrist, and I was telling her, keep playing basketball.
That's what my mom did to my sister.
Keep playing, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out. And then when she comes home the next day and her arms, her hand's completely swollen, she can't even move it, I'm like, well, I guess we got to go check it out.
Well, and the silver lining in it all is that, we're going to figure it out. We're going to get her right. And, she's doing her best, but she's struggling right now. But it takes a toll on all of us, right? But here's the brilliance of it. Going with the theme of today's topic of relationships, it's like, you told me. We sat down in these chairs yesterday when I got the text. Right. Like, see ya. I was like, what? I was like, she's like, go out of here.
That's
See
it.
you later. Then, my in-laws were here. Tell us where to be, when, whatever. We got it, right? Which enabled me to go straight to the hospital, meet them there, take care of our stuff. I'm talking to my mom. She's like, cool. Tell me what flight I need to be on next. And so, you talk about teams, and, it's obviously family is family, but that's part of your team. That's part of your, you guys.
Your support system.
You sent me a message later in the day. What do I need to do? If I would have said hey, I need you to rent me a G5. Done. Okay. I'll use 10 credit cards. I'll figure it out. Right.
Exactly.
But my point is having in-laws, having family, the support that you can lean on, just our team. It's I
haven't coached baseball in a long time, but you need me to put me a coach. I got this.
We've seen you with your hat.
I put the hat on. Yep.
But no, it was awesome. We're getting them right. But I tell you what, this parenting and this adulting thing is not. It's for the birds, man. I'm going back. I need to go back to where life was simpler, and I didn't have to worry about, because man, the stress of, well, I'll tell you what, sitting in there watching, my daughter get a CAT scan it was scary. And
it's always I hate to say this, but you worry about all your kids, right? Because we both have boys, we both have a girl, and we always have that. But it's something when it's your girl.
Yeah, it's different.
The guys, you're all right, whatever. Yeah. Like my son's had a splinter in his eye from going out and sword fighting with a tree, and like Brandon's done all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's more like, all right, you'll get over it, Brandon. But when it's Amanda, like I'm sure with your boys, when it's Beckham, it's like, all right, come on, get up, you're good. But it's Brooklyn, it's like, oh no, the world is ending. Like we need to work. So
no, but it's been good. We appreciate all the help. We can get it right and get back after it. And blessings for a good team, good diagnosis. The doctors were amazing. Shout out Dr. Wilkinson who hooked us up. It's always good. Like we talk about how small the world is.
Yep.
We're sitting in there, when times are pretty stressful, and the doctor that comes in is a friend of ours, friend of the family. I've coached his younger son multiple times. I've coached his older son. So it's always nice. Like, I know these doctors, they're all putting their best foot
and you
forward.
didn't know him, that he was going to be the doctor.
I had no idea.
Because it was in the ER.
When I saw him walk in, my blood pressure, my heart rate, like, it still was like irregular. Like, it calmed a little bit because I'm like, okay.
I know this guy.
I got Dr. Wilkinson here. Like, again, I'm not saying another doctor would have done a bad job by any means, but it's like having that relationship. Again, we talk about relationships, and you never know when you're going to need them or use them. And it started on the baseball field, and there he is. And I'm just like, okay.
So Brooklyn's going to get better. We know everything's good.
We're getting her better. One day at a time is our plan. One day at a time.
All right, brother.
That's all we can do.
You have a good one. Have a good week. Make sure she's okay. And go win baseball games now.
Don't sleep on the double. I think Caesars is down about -250.
All right.
Double A Pirates. This season. Maybe Westgate's got them. I don't know.